It's no big surprise to most that the United States has a massive military budget. Is it necessary to allocate so much funding to our armed forces? According to Dowdy in a 2001 article titled Better Arms for Fewer Soldiers, the United States spends nearly twice as much on its military than the 13 European nations and NATO combined. We're at about 275 billion, they're at about 140 billion. Why should we be concerned about this? Well, we all pay taxes. We're all vested in the future of this nation. We should want the government to be fiscally responsible, but keep us safe at the same time. The military budget should not be cut. Is there a way to monitor funding, like allocate it better and keep an eye on how they spend it? Possibly. But what would we be surrendering to do so? My name is Ryan Duffy. I'm a sergeant in the U.S. Army Reserves. I've been in the military for about 18 years and I've seen gross wasting of funds. But I have also seen shortages of funding in some areas. How about this? Do we spend enough on our military here in the U.S.? How would cutting the budget affect our economy and our military? What if I told you that 25% of the people in the U.S. believe we don't spend enough on our military? There are opinions all over the board on whether we should increase, decrease the military budget, leave it alone. So we're gonna see where some people in the U.S. lie on this situation here. According to Hicks in a 2020 article titled "The Truth About Defense Spending," a Gallup poll from 2019 showed that 25% of people think the U.S. spends too little on its military. 29% believe it spends too much on its military, and 43% believe we're at about the right amount. I'm one of the 25%. I think the budget is fine. Don't mess with it. As I mentioned, I have experienced shortages in funding in the military. Let me tell you, for lack of a better term, it sucks. I was supposed to go to a school that would be for my next promotion, just to be told by battalion there was no money to send me to school. So what can I do? Nothing but be put at the back of the list for my promotion. Besides money for training, it's important to stay more technologically advanced than our adversaries. According to Strout in the 2020 article titled "New Pentagon Budget Request to Invest in Four Advanced Technologies," the DoD, Department of Defense, has allocated $7 billion of their $107 billion that's set aside for research, development, test, and engineering towards 4 advanced capability enablers. Now, advanced capability enablers are basically tools that will put us just a step ahead of the enemy, which, in my opinion, is very important because no one wants to mess with the guy that has all the big toys and fancy equipment. All right, we haven't had a near-peer combat situation since World War II. I personally hope we never do, but we should always be prepared for it in case it comes our way. Imagine living somewhere with horrible infrastructure, not knowing where your next meal is going to come from, and having a leader that spends 22% of your nation's GDP on their military. That's not the U.S., that's North Korea. 22% of their GDP, that is crazy. We may have the largest budget, but it's only 3.4% of our GDP. So that is such a small piece of our government spending. I think we're right around 30th in percentage going to military versus GDP. All right, a lot of people have opinions in the budget that aren't necessarily educated opinions. We certainly do have a large budget, but there's a lot of money to go around. So percentage-wise, it is not large. So more modern, our budget is over 700 billion, and like I said, that's only 3.4% of our GDP or 9% of our government spending. Is there room to trim some fat in there? Possibly. There's always room to, cut a little of the garbage out. In the military, they have pretty much a policy where if you don't use your whole budget, you lose some of your budget for next year. If they got rid of that, that would probably save a bunch of money. Can't tell you how many times I've heard, oh, we have to spend all this before October, before the new budget comes out. So basically, we need to find ways we can trim fat, if necessary. If we can leave the budget alone, leave it alone. In the coming decades, if we can cut a little bit every year, get rid of some of the BS they waste their money on, that would be great. Save the taxpayers some dollars. The bottom line is we need to make sure we have enough funding for our troops to get the proper training and the best equipment in the world. I don't know about you, but I would not sleep well knowing I voted for saving a few dollars over the safety and stability of our soldiers.